Hey, how's it going, everyone? I'm Nathan with the ebookreader.com. So, for this review, we've got the Likebook Muses. It's got a 7.8-inch ink screen with 300 ppi. As you can see, it's got that indented screen. It's got a capacitive touchscreen and a Wacom touchscreen for using with the stylus. I'll show that later. So, the text does look nice and clear on this screen. I do like how it looks. And on the back here, we've got two speakers, and then on the lower edge, we've got a USB-C port, power button. Oddly, they didn't include a memory card slot on this model. It has 32 gigabytes of storage space. Like I said, you've got the 300 ppi e-ink screen, and it does look quite good. I kind of like how the front light with the white of the device kind of goes together. But this app, as you can see, it has some issues. The spacing is kind of strange with the punctuation for sure. I'll talk about that more later. For now, let's go ahead and switch it over to the front light to talk about it. So it's got the cool colored front light and the warm colored front light. This is at the maxed out setting in sort of a brighter room here. As you can see at the bottom, it's a bit brighter with this front light. I'm not sure if that's typical of this device, or if it just happens to be this one. You never really know with front lights. They vary a lot from one to the next. One thing that's kind of weird about the ebook app, you can go in here and adjust the front light from within the app, but you can't adjust the color for some odd reason. You have to open up the quick settings menu here, and then you can adjust the color. I don't know why they don't have it within the app, but one thing that's different about this device, so you got the cool color and the warm color, but you can't blend them like you can on like the Kobo, for instance, or the Onyx devices. You can just use one or the other, and then you've got the different brightness settings you can choose from, but you can't mix the colors, so a little bit different. So here's the home screen. You got your home layout, you got your notes section, book section, app section. So let's go ahead and talk about the notes, because this is the main thing that's different about this from the Likebook Mars. You got the Wacom Stylus, you got the Notepad app, you got a few sorting options in there, but and then we've got this menu bar that goes across the top, and you've got some different template options. You got different checklists. There's just like plain white paper. You got different lined paper. Unfortunately, there doesn't appear to be any way to add more templates. I don't know if there is. I can't seem to find the way. There's not any obvious way to do so. So here we go with a basic lined paper. Then you've got your different menu options up here. The writing works well with the stylus, the Wacom stylus. It has a little bit of a slicker feel than it does like with paper because of the screen. It's just like a hard surface. But it does work fairly well. There's very minimal delay. You've got two different options for the pen. You've got the pressure sensitive one and the one with no pressure sensitivity. So like when you're using this one, it just depends on how hard you're pressing, how thick the line's going to be. That gives a little bit more of a realistic approach to it. And then you've got the different options up here for eraser. So you can actually just use the back of the pen to erase. It's got an eraser on it. It uses that track erase. It has a button on the stylus as well. For some reason, it doesn't do anything when you're using this app. It does when you're using PDFs. But if you hold the button, it doesn't do anything. And you also got that ranged erase, so you can like circle something and erase more things at once. You got the full page erase, and you got the edit, the undo, the redo, though they call it revoke and recovery undo, which is odd. So this little icon up here, this little arrow, lets you resize and move items on the screen. So if you adjust it in the corner here, you can make it larger or smaller. And then if you hit the little rotation icon right there, you can rotate it however you want, and then move it around the page however you want as well. So you got some different options with that. It doesn't have any copy feature, no copy and paste feature, but you can move, resize. Then some other options up here with the menu bar. You've got the option to refresh here. As you can see, there's still a lot of ghosting from like moving that around. And then you've also got the option to change the size of the lines. So that's 12 point lines. You can go up to 20. You can have it fainter or lighter depending on how, or darker depending on what you're working on. And then right here, if you hit that button, it'll add a page to your notes. So you can have multiple pages, and if you tap on that, you can view multiple pages at once. It's also got the full screen option, so if you don't want to see the menu bar. So it does work all the way up to the edges, which is nice. It's kind of weird, though. You can see a little bit of a black mark along the edges, which catches your eye a little bit. But it does work all the way up to the edges when you're using the stylus, the full screen mode. And then when you export your notes, you got these different options right here. You can actually export it. The impression here means it'll export to Evernote. I don't have an Evernote account, but I mean, that's what the landing page goes to. You can also change the background, as you can see right there, or move the line paper back to white paper after the fact, after you've already written on the page. Then you can do the export with PDF or as a ping file. And then you can find those in your notes once you export them. There's like this basic file manager on here, and you can go in and navigate to your exported notes. Like I said, you can be PDF or ping files. You can also, when you're in your note app, you can long press on your notes. You get the option to rename them, export them, or delete them. So I uploaded a separate video showing PDF files, but I just wanted to show quickly you can write on the PDFs as well. So you can't write on ebooks, but you can write on PDF files. You've got a few different options up here. It's different than the Note app. You still have the pressure sensitive and non-pressure sensitive pen. You just got 4 line thicknesses. And then the eraser uses a stroke erase, which actually works much better than the track erase. Oddly, it's not available in the Note app. So you got those different export options with the PDFs as well. So when it comes to using the ebook app, you got the usual set of features. You know, you can add highlights. They call them underlines. You can add text notes to your underlines. And then these also have the option to export over Evernote. It shows up in the corner. But as you can see, my main problem with this app is it just has odd spacing issues. Like it'll drop an apostrophe S to a second line. I've seen a paragraph where I'll have the period on the next page. It does really strange things with formatting. It doesn't like abide to the book's CSS. It just kind of overrides everything, and it doesn't do it well. So luckily you can load in other apps. But as far as this app goes, I'll give you a brief tutorial on it. You can load in your own fonts on here. Sideload fonts, it's just by putting a font folder on the root directory. You got the different font size adjustments like usual. You got some different typesetting options, which these ones are rather odd. I don't know why. But if you can go in and change the spacing here. But as you can see, like the word spacing option, it makes the words really odd. So you can, as you can see, that's why I have it all the way to the smallest setting here. But everything still has a little bit of a spacing issue with the punctuation. It doesn't really abide by normal rules. That's my biggest issue with the app. It also has this boldness option, but it makes it too bold unless you like mess with the contrast settings. Italic, you got the option to use italic as well. So like I loaded in that char ink, and it's kind of bolder than normal, so it looks terrible on this because it adds more boldness to it. You'd have to adjust the contrast, so you got the different contrast adjustment. What's nice though is you can adjust the text separately from the pictures or the images. Make things a bit bolder if you want the text to appear bolder without using that bold option. Makes so that it's a little bit more control over that. You also got the option to switch over to landscape mode like usual. And then you've also got the option to use the auto page turning, which will, you can set how often you want the page to turn automatically. This icon in the lower left, it'll take you to the table of contents. And then over on this page, you've also got access to any bookmarks that you added, your underlines, and your notes. So like I said, with ebooks, you can't write on the screen using the stylus. You can use it to turn pages and whatnot. Settings menu, you got some different tap zones, refresh settings you can set. If you hold down on a book title, like from the home screen here, you can actually set a different ebook app to open if you want to use a different ebook app entirely, like Moonreader or Co-Reader. Co-Reader actually works pretty well. It has better formatting than the default app, but for some reason it's not refreshing the page fully with this version of Co-Reader. I don't know, maybe a different version will. So here's a quick look at the web browser. So the web browser works okay, but they haven't optimized it for ink at all. So like right there, you type in a search result and it doesn't actually show the results. It just on the drop down there, it's all blacked out because it hasn't been optimized for ink. And again here, when you're scrolling, you can see a lot of background images. See the Google logo right there? You can see lots of ghosting when you're using the web browser. It doesn't fully refresh the page the way it should. Kind of an issue with Likebook software in general. Like Onyx's devices, they will refresh the screen better so you don't get as much ghosting. The web browser has been more optimized. You've also got like a little icon you can use to scroll up and down with Onyx's devices. So it's just one thing that needs to be worked on a little bit more as far on the software level to make it more optimized for ink. But it does work. As you can see, scrolling works here. Like when you're using a basic text-based website, you don't get too much ghosting. So I don't know if I mentioned it already. This device does run Android 6.0, can install apps. Right now, it doesn't have the Google Play Store on here. Apparently, they're going to be adding it with a firmware update. It's just got a basic app store. A few of these pre-installed apps, like the sound recorder, dictionary, uses StarDict if you wanted to use some different dictionaries in here. I tried loading one on, but it wouldn't work. I think it has to be like extracted before it'll show up on here. I was just using their basic file manager, which doesn't have an extraction option. So obviously with an Android e-ink reader, you got more. It's going to be more limited than like a regular tablet, but you still got a good amount of options on here. You can install some apps. It's going to take some experimenting with the ink because they're not obviously optimized for this kind of screen technology. You do have this contrast adjustment tool on here, and you can also like long press on like apps and set some custom settings to help make them work a little bit better with the e-ink screen. So Likebook's a little bit more advanced than your typical e-reader, and the addition of the Wacom Stylus is nice if you need to add notes or do any kind of drawings on the ink screen. So I'm going to go ahead and post a comparison review next between the Onyx Books Nova Pro. Both are very similar devices, got the same size screen, same Wacom touchscreen. So check out the ebookreader.com and the Ebook Reader YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.